Board. Okay.
You're gonna
So yeah. So as you're filling out the interactive notebook, like I said, if you don't have the pages, just write out the problem so that you can take the notes by hand. And then
you're gonna record
yeah, I
the
know it's
class.
kind of hard to read off screen. So Colby will also have it actually come up on the page individually when we go through them. So I'm only recording this class today because we're starting the term brand new, and I was worried I was going to not know what I was doing last class. I will not be recording this class in the future because it's loud.
Yeah,
It's
well,
very not making
Thank
sense.
you.
Okay,
I
Mr.
I
Cleaver.
like this class because I have Enrique and now I have Jackson, even though he doesn't talk with words.
Leaf, what do you got? You're raising your hand.
Oh, I guess I have Leaf too.
I
mean,
thought
he's
you
here.
said that most of us would lose like the notes and stuff. No, I have all of that. I've lost my glue stick and my scissors.
Mr. Cleary, I have an excuse you probably have heard. My scissors ate my homework.
Hey, I was gonna say that one next time.
It just
well,
sounds like you
too
cut up all
bad.
the stuff.
Fine.
Exactly.
My
Wow,
These things I've
just
been
wow.
reading all break. What do you think has been entertained?
Cade, they're gonna be helpful. One of the problems on the math base from today is a little bit weird, so I'm gonna talk about that separately. But yeah, that's the goal for today. People might not finish the math base today. That's okay. We'll have a little bit more time to practice it and work on it over the rest of the week. So if it's tough for you even after class today, don't worry about it too much.
Siri, I know how to perfectly break down the kids you have in your class. Well, the more out there kids. That you have like the 4 talkative kids, Enrique, Hollis, Haley, and then Thomas, I would assume. And then there's the insomniac, me.
Hey, Mr. Cleary.
And then there's the
Mario
smart
Kart
kids,
elsewhere.
it's everybody else.
Oh, never mind.
So anyway, I do want to talk about a couple of small changes I'm making to the class this term. First and foremost, you probably noticed that the schedule, instead of posting a Word document, I just made an actual like text post that has the assignments and what we're going to be doing each day. So that'll probably be how I do the schedule from now on. It just looks a little cleaner. And people weren't using the schedule anyway, so I doubt that'll matter to most of you. The other thing is this week, it doesn't apply this week since we're kind of doing stuff that we already did at the end of last trimester. It's a little bit of review and a little bit of new stuff. This week, all the assignments are going to be in math space. Starting next week, I'm going to do my best to give you an option on each assignment to either do math space or IXL. And when you do the IXLs, the way I'm going to grade them is that if you get a 70, that's a 3. If you get an 80, that's a 4.
IXLs
Still don't have to go to 100, but what's that, Hollis?
IXL is confusing.
Then you
At least-
can use math space. That's the point.
Oh,
I want to give
you're
people
smart.
choices.
Okay, Mr. Cleary.
Yeah.
So, if we do get 100 on IXL, do we,
No, we don't get any bonus credit.
Uh,
We've had this conversation with him before.
It's not the first time we've done this.
just wait for it because he knows that I don't do it all the way. So if I do it all the way, can you pretend to give me more than a 4, but actually just give me a 4? Just tell me I get an A+, and then I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Don't
I think-
worry. That's all
I will-
I'm gonna do. No
I will
stress.
tell you, Kahali, personally that you're getting a 5, and then I'll just put it in your grade book as a 4.
Yay, because
Okay, that works.
That's just an emotional encouragement.
doing way more work than you
Well,
have
I'm
to
probably never
for
gonna-
the actual purpose is totally like what everyone wants to do.
Well, listen, I don't like IXL. That's the thing. So if I push myself to do it, then I might get smarter, which will probably not happen because most of my friends know that. But
Right, you're smart. You just
it's
have to
experience.
get smarter. Is that the thing?
I'm
I
mostly
don't
up-
know.
Difference between being smart
I don't
and being
sleep.
smarter.
Brooklyn, you.
Okay. So anyway, let's move on. Does anybody? It looks like people are still cutting. So
You
I'm
know what's
assuming that
kinda-
people.
I'm pretty sure that like some of the quietest people are in this class too.
It's a very great combination.
should just
Yeah,
take like
because I
a bunch of the loud
Kate is
students and
quiet.
put us in a breakout room. And then you should send, if Barb's here, you should just send her in there. So then we could be like quiet. She could just like be quiet. But I don't know if you could send a teacher in and
Because you're gonna give
Be quiet.
one teacher all of us.
well just us 4 or 3 or whatever.
That teacher would quit.
I don't want
That's
to be
true
in
when
the
you sign
either.
up.
That's
will
like
literally
punishment.
die.
Okay, hold on. I have to focus. Shush.
I already focused all the way into doing my work good.
I'm
I'm just here to
multitasking. I'm
talk.
working and focusing.
Mr.
You
Cleary,
guys
I'm
know
done.
this is being recorded, right? No, Brooklyn, because we're gonna actually take notes today. So I need to start going through and taking attendance because I kind of forgot about that.
Wait, so are we taking the notes or are we doing a math base? Or both?
We are gonna take the notes today. So
Totally.
And is the math base today or tomorrow?
the math space is going to be today, but it's not something that's necessarily due tomorrow. You'll have until Wednesday to finish it.
Okay.
I would work on it at least a little bit today to see how you do with it. But
I'm already
Why is
halfway
it
done.
always Wednesday? Why is it always Wednesday or Friday?
Because those are the 2 days that are the most day.
because
You wanna say
those are the
something?
ones that are
That's
easiest to.
weird.
I don't know. Is
Someone
Travis here?
talked and
Yes,
said-
Travis is here.
Why don't we just okay, so I have a plan. Why don't we just all submit the work that we do on Thursday? So then you can do all that work. And so when you
That
do
is
our
a
grades
lot of
Friday,
work to grade in one day.
like all
not-
the work we are
Okay, Haley-
supposed to submit it not Wednesday the day after.
Kahaley,
It's a smart idea.
Kahaley, every assignment I assign you can turn in any time, unfortunately, because I'm not allowed to stop you from turning it in late.
I can't
the
hear
due
half
dates-
of what you're saying.
The due dates tend to be Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays, because those are later in the week.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, every day except for Monday. Monday is so lonely.
Now I know how everyone else feels.
Okay, so I'm going to give you guys like 30 more seconds to get this written down, and then we're going to start actually taking notes. If you're not done copying it into your interactive notebook, that's fine. You'll have time to keep doing that as we go. Don't forget your table of contents. For me, this is pages 22 and 23, or 21 and 22. 21 and 22, sorry. For you guys, I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure most of my notebook is dead by now.
I lost count of what page I'm on a year ago.
Sounds like personal problems.
It's just a problem.
I killed my notebook. I murdered the notebook because it annoys me.
Gee, I wonder how that feels.
I have a question. So
What's your question?
More talking.
it's about the tiny word things.
The tiny word
It's-
things?
What the heck is that?
It's a
What is
doggy.
that?
So this is your first vocabulary word. It is proportion. This is actually your only vocabulary word. So a proportion
Let
is
me
an
cut out
equation.
vocabulary.
Hollis, I'm actually talking about the notes. Please let me talk. An equation stating two ratios are equivalent. So you guys already know that a ratio is basically a comparison of two numbers. So like 2/3, that's a ratio. Usually you'd have units, but that doesn't really matter right now. So we've got 2 to 3 in this case. A proportion is setting it equal to something else. So for instance, 2 to 3 equals 6/9. This is a proportion. So here we've got the example of 10/20 to equals 15/30. I believe what this is like inches in a dog's head to inches in a dog's back or something like that. I don't know the exact thing. But there's some kind of proportion here between snout and back length. Beats me what it's supposed to actually
Huh?
be. I don't know what dog has a head that's half as long as its back, but whatever.
That's a
That's a
weird
big
dog.
head.
It is a weird dog. It's cute
Big
though.
head, small brain. That is a cute dog.
Glue all
Nothing is
over my
cuter than
desk.
my dog.
I tried to glue it into the table.
You guys are tough to keep on task, huh? I'm assuming that
Okay,
this is
so
some.
if you,
I'm struggling to keep
You know
awake.
I do it. I just talk while I do it.
oh, I know what you can do. You can turn it so when we can't turn off our mics, and
Yeah,
when we
but
have a
then-
question, we raise our hand. That is a
Stop
smart
talking.
idea. You should do
I,
that.
I might have to.
You should do that. You should do that.
That would help you out. Oh my god, I hate this class now.
Then I quit school.
I never
That's
signed
the
up.
only
for-
reason I
You,
like
you
this class.
guys do need to start learning when is an appropriate time to talk like crazy and when is not. That's what I'll say for now.
Aren't all the times appropriate to talk?
No.
all times that are not in school.
Okay. Next up, we're gonna ignore that. So solving proportions. For those of you that have the interactive notebook pages, this is already written out for you. You don't have anything to write there. Those of you that don't, these are just steps for doing cross multiplication. So you would probably want to write out both of these just so you have them and so that you can reference them. But we're also going to go over some example problems. So you might not necessarily need them. Yes, Hollis?
If I have my interactive notebook and I wrote down the proportion thing and it's all glued in, can I leave?
No, because we're going to do example problems and stuff. Oh, Andy, you weren't done? Okay. Let me go back. Where did it, what in the world? There.
Your problem, not mine.
So I'm going to give you guys a few more seconds to get this finished. And then we will move on.
My cat's glaring at me.
Okay. I'm sorry that your
Um,
cat is glaring at you. So remember from before the break, we talked about cross multiplication. You're taking the numerator of the first ratio, multiplying it by the denominator of the second, and the denominator of the first times the numerator of the second. So here we have 4 times 30 equals 5 times x. And then remember, you divide by whatever's in front of your variable to solve for it. So in this case, we divide by 5. The 5s will cancel out, and we get 24 equals x. Now, hopefully you all remember how to do this. We're going to go over an example of it in just a second. What we're going to do is we're not going to finish all of the notes today, especially not in this class, but we will be talking through a couple more examples. You guys need to stop being so
That
mean.
kind of sounds like an insult.
It does kind of sound like an insult
Like
because you guys should not be
Like-
mean to each other.
you're just like,
All right.
at least not in this.
So let's look at our first example. We have 2 over 3 equals x over 15. Now, all of you, I know for a fact, have seen this before because we did it a bunch. So we have 2 over 3 equals x over 15. So we're going to cross multiply. Remember, that goes like this. So we have 2 to 15, 3 to x. In this case, that gives us 3x equals 30. Then we can just divide both sides by 3, as you all know. So hopefully this one is completely reviewed. Andy, I'm recording this right now, and then I'm going to post it up onto the classroom in just a little bit. I'm also going to give you guys the slideshow tomorrow. So if you're not getting them quick enough, then you will have a chance to get them later. Plus, if you want to hang around after class, I can give you all. I just want to get through these so that people aren't here the entire day.
Well, yeah, now he can stay after class and do stuff, but I can't stay, so.
So one of the things that I didn't talk about before the break that we didn't bother doing at all. Oops, what is going on?
I don't know. Stop
I'm trying
asking
to-
me.
Move. Okay. So one of the things I didn't talk about before break is the way you can check your answer when you've done these. So in this case, we solve this, we get x equals 10. So if we rewrite this and replace our x with a 10, so in this case, we have 10 over 15, we can cross multiply these and the numbers should come out to be the same. So in this case, we have 2 times 15, which is equal to 30, and we have 3 times 10, which is equal to 30. So this is a way that'll let us check our answer to see whether or not our ratio or our proportion is correct. So make sure you've got these steps written in so you can reference this problem. And if you want to write it out the way I would personally do it, then you can do 2 over 3 equals x over 15, cross multiply. then divide by 3. Just like that. I also saw Hannah came in. Okay. So next up, we've got something that you guys haven't seen before too much. And so that is, oops, here. Determine whether or not the pair of ratios forms a proportion. So we have 4/9 and 2/6. The way we're going to do this is the same way we would check our answer on the previous problem. So in the previous problem, we checked our answer by doing the cross multiplication of what we actually solved for our ratio. We're going to do the same thing here to determine whether or not this is an actual proportion. So like it shows over on this side, we've got 4/9. And then they have this little equals with a question mark. That's just because we're not actually sure if these are equal yet. So we just put the little question mark on top. And then we're going to cross multiply and solve them out to see whether or not we get the same thing. If we get the same thing when we multiply these, this is a proportion. This works correctly. If we don't, then it is not a proportion. So we're going to write the proportion using our weird little question mark equal sign. And then we're going to use cross products to check. So as you can see, we multiplied 4 and 6, and we multiplied 9 and 2. 4 times 6, of course, is 24. 9 times 2 is, of course, 18. 24 does not equal 18. So these ratios do not form a proportion. So in this case, the answer would be no, these don't form a proportion. So what I want you guys to do is tell me which of the two problems I'm about to write out are proportions. So one of these is a proportion, one of them isn't. Which one is a proportion? We'll do A and we'll do B. You can use private chat. Just let me know which one you think it is. Make sure you get this stuff written down first. And that is correct, Jackson. Good, Isabel. Grayson, I make sure you're doing which one is a proportion. So which one does work correctly. Colby, good. That was in the everyone chat, Colby, though. That's okay. Enrique, good. You go, Grayson. I guess now everybody kind of knows. So if I cross multiply these, I get 2 times 12, which is 24. 3 times 8, which is 24. If I cross multiply these, 6 times 30, I know these are bigger numbers, is 180. And then 9 times 24, that is 216. So these are not the same. Okay, so are there any questions about how to do that?
Not for me.
Cool. All right, so we're a little bit behind where we wanted to be. That's okay. We're going to do one more example problem, and then I'm going to let you guys get out of here. But first, we need to talk about how to solve word problems using proportions. So these are the steps. If you don't have your interactive notebook, please write these down. If you need more time, I'll let you hang out after class and get these back up. But the steps to solving these proportions when they're in word problems are to identify the variable and what it represents. So basically what you're trying to do is figure out what number you're trying to solve for and what number you don't like. So what number you don't have in the word problem. Usually it'll be pretty obvious. We'll see an example in just a second that'll help make this make more sense. Step 2 is to write a proportion. Make sure that the placement of the units match in each ratio. So what this means is if you've got like, let's say miles per hour on one side, then you have to have miles per hour on the other side. You can't have miles per minute because those are different. You can't do these as a ratio. That doesn't work. And you also couldn't have hours per mile because these would be flipped and that wouldn't work either. So you have to make sure that the units are the same on both top and bottom of both sides of your proportion. And then the last thing is to solve the proportion. You're going to use cross multiplication just like you would normally. And that part is the same as before. Okay, let's look at an example and then I'm going to let you guys get out of here. So this says that students help run a summer soccer camp. 2 students are needed for every 15 elementary school soccer players. There are 195 soccer players signed up. How many students are needed? So it's asking us how many students we need. So we know that students is going to be our variable. So we're going to have X students at some point. Now we need to know how many students are needed to manage 195 soccer players. So we'll do 195. We'll call them players in this case. And then that's going to equal our original ratio. So what's our original ratio of students to soccer players?
2 to 15.
2 to 15, correct. So we're going to have 2 students. Oops, I can't write. Over 15 players. And then from here, we can just solve this like a normal proportion problem. So you'll notice that we have students and students on top, and we have players and players on the bottom of both. So then we're going to cross multiply just like you would normally. You'll get 15x equals 2 times 195 is 390. And then we're going to divide both sides by 15. So here's it written out in detail. So we've got, here's our ratio. It's 2 students over 15 players equals X students over 195 players. We cross multiply to get 15x equals 390. Divide both sides by 15. And we're left with X equals 26. So in this case, we need 26 students to run our soccer camp. So are there any questions about how we solve these? Okay, so you're going to get some practice with this on your math space. I will let you guys practice that in just a second. But before we do, there's one other thing I want to talk about. So MathSpace has a couple of weird problems in it in this assignment that I just can't get rid of. They're really obnoxious and they don't make a whole lot of sense. So they ask you to decrease a number by a ratio. Let's say by the ratio 5 to 4. So it says decrease 8 by the ratio of 5 to 4. So when you're decreasing a ratio, what they want you to do is do 8 over x equals, and then to decrease, they want you to set it equal to the bigger number. So in this case, the bigger number is 5. So we have 5 over 4. And then we just solve this normally. Now, if it said increase 8 by the ratio 4 to 5 or 5 to 4, it doesn't really matter. Let's make it the same so you guys can see the difference. 5 to 4. If we're increasing the ratio, we're still going to have 8 over x, but this time we're going to put the smaller number on top. So it's going to be 4 over 5. Like I said, I don't know why MathSpace has these in this assignment. They're not going to be on your test, but they can be frustrating if you've never seen them before. So just so that you know what you're doing on the actual MathSpace assignment, these are the 2 most frustrating ones, I think. The rest are story problems and solving proportions. So you guys are welcome to stay in the classroom and get help if you need it. You're also welcome to take off. I won't make you stay any longer today. So that's all the new stuff. The assignment is called Applications of Ratios. And you'll notice that all the assignments from last trimester are now currently set to expire in August. I'm eventually going to move all the assignments towards August just so that you guys can work on them the whole year. But for now, Applications of Ratios should be the first one in your upcoming tasks. So
Mr. Cleary.
Yeah.
I have a question about math.
Okay.